lot of amazing stories behind a lot of people in the film, a lot of things that happen. So it's good to always kind of talk about that stuff. So think of some decent questions, or at least ways to lead us into interesting stories for each. We have hundreds, and I'm not sure which ones to tell. So otherwise, enjoy, and yeah, stick around for the Q&A. And we're trying to cut the credits shorter, so we're going to watch like 25 minutes of our credits. So, thank you guys very much. Yeah. Woohoo!
What? A duet? You can play the organ.
What's that?
You can play the organ.
Yeah, my organ.
Jeff, can you just not videotape 1 second of our existence?
No, it's called 20. My new project's called Rock and Roll Hall 24/7.
Oh man, it's gonna be fascinating.
What's it called?
Rock and Roll Hall 24/7.
Rock and Roll Hall. I like that. It sounds like the robot. Rock and Roll Hall 24/7.
All your technology, you own like just an amazing amount of
Well,
technology.
it's just the phone and this camcorder. This cost $175.
Really?
Yeah.
What does it shoot on? Mini discs?
Mini DV.
Really? Mini DV? Oh.
Okay. What are you getting?
I'm not sure.
So how about worst comes worst? If we are rushed, then I'll just leave some money and then we can run over to the theater real quick just to make sure we do the intro thing. Or we could all just go over there, do the intro, and then come back and finish our meal.
I think we'll be okay.
Okay. I mean, just in case. We don't all have to get up and run.
We'll order our food, then say we'll be back in 1 hour.
Yeah. And he was like, I wasn't rude, and then he looked to Leia and he said, was I rude to you? Was I rude? And Leia was like, yes, you were. And he was like, will you see this on this table? And it was like a handicap thing. And he was like, my wife is handicapped. We need to sit down. I was like, that's fine. But I mean, you know, you just be polite. Without a beat missing.
A beat?
The beat.
What did you guys do last
There's a lot to admire with Jeff and just
He was just whipping out.
both in.
Okay, what about your fight?
Oh, well, just some guy trying to rip the hinges off my door.
Okay. You want to tell a story?
Oh, so you're gonna go to the screen?
Look at that basket.
Oh wait. Hello? Hey, this is Jared. Oh, it's going pretty
Are you
good.
recording?
Are you gonna go to the screen?
Rock and 24/7.
I could be like a new 24, like buy it except 24/7. It'll take a week to
Yeah,
watch.
we should be. We're
I mean, do you want to get married? Like, do you want to? I mean, obviously you do, but I just.
Hemp. Me documenting hemp, documenting me, documenting.
I don't have any sort of thing, anything like that to document anything.
You see what I saw this morning?
Wow.
Open the door to
Where's
the...
the gold?
That's Jason? Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, he got from that room and then he said, no, I'm fine. And then in the middle of dinner, he was like, I'll take it. And I already told him, this guy is like...
So did you tell him, like...
Yeah, he understood. He was like, I know I told you it, but he just sort of weird.
What?
Yeah, he's sort of strange. Like, just that. It was the same thing with the release. That's what we were talking about. Like, with the release, like you said, yeah, I'll sign it, and you give it to him.
Did he sign it?
Film exhibition here at the Regent Square Theater. We also have 2 theaters, Harris Theater downtown in the Cultural District, and the Melwood Theater that's at our headquarters in Oakland. In addition to film exhibition, we also exhibit art by regional artists at our galleries at the Melwood location, and at the Pittsburgh Center for the Arts, which is at the corner of 5th and Shady, the big yellow mansion in Shadyside. We also have an extensive education classes at both facilities, and from age 2 to 102, you can take classes in all types of media of the arts. Just want to make you aware of a couple things that are coming up here related to the festival. On Tuesday, November 14th, there's a members-only party at the Firehouse Lounge in the Strip District. On Wednesday, November 15th, there's an all-festival blowout at Pure Nightclub in the Strip District. You have a ticket stub to any, if you bought any, come to any of those films during this festival, you get in for free to that party. And I just want to ask you to check out our website, which is www.3rff.com. We have a photo auction going on that raises money for the festival. So thank you for coming. And at this time, I'm very pleased to introduce to you the director of the film that you're about to see, Todd Rohal, who's in the audience. Todd, would you like to come down and say hello?
Thanks very much for coming. I won't, excuse me, I won't say too much. Some of our cast and crew are here too, so we'll do like an open sort of Q&A afterwards that are generally full of all kinds of information on the film, which I'm sure there'll be some interesting questions. So if you have questions about what certain equipment was used for lighting the film, our lighting people will be able to answer those. Just kidding. And interactive as well. So there's a bunch of interesting stories with this film that come along. All the actors in this, or most of the actors in this, were from the area we shot in, which is Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So a lot of the faces in this movie have never been. Most of the faces in this movie have never been in a film before, or acted. Some of them have never even acted before, even attempted it. So these are a lot of people that we just pulled out of different spots. A lot of kids we pulled from school plays, or that we found at a Burger King or something. So we made this really strange movie on 35 anamorphic. So our screen should widen out before we start, and you'll see what we made. So it'd be good to talk about it after. So please stick around. We'll cut our credits a bit short and talk a bit. So great. Thank you very much.
And I didn't know that. I'm going to double check before we start. So, just a minute. Oh, I guess he knows.
The value of a dollar. Every region has a financial foundation on which careers and aspirations are built. Since 1855, Dollar Bank has invested billions of dollars in millions of lives and thousands of businesses in Western Pennsylvania. And by remaining independent, we'll continue for many lives and businesses to come. That's the value of a dollar.
In a demolition derby, the last car moving is the winner. Sometimes the cars are so badly beat up, they can barely move, but they're still the winners. Donald says he'd like to see before he dies. A lake of chocolate, a turtle the size of a horse, and a trophy with his name on it. He says he'll be happy if it just says Donald and nothing else. Mr. Turnipseed is Donald's father. He invented a sport that mixes baseball and wrestling, but he's never told anyone how to play it. Donald says that once he does, they'll be millionaires. Donald's dad fell in love with this car, and I think he'd marry it if he could. Sadie has dozens of sisters, but she's the oldest one. They all have different moms. She says she fell in love with Donald the first time she saw him. His hand was stuck in a toilet, and he was shouting for help. Sadie found him, and they've been together ever since. You couldn't ask for a better friend than Donald. He said I'd grow up to be a world-class driver if I wanted to be. Everything was going so well. Until 2 weeks ago. Things stopped working like they used to.
Well done. Very nice.
Hi.
Time is a drag. Smell myself to make sure I'm still there. I'm alone in the night with the saber to shine. And every arrow through my heart. 3 miles, broadcast down. Seeing the rain, there's all this night of fingers at here. Smoking a fire. I'm on my own. I'm right away.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jared Larson. I'm a former Pittsburgh filmmaker student, and I worked on this film, The Bottom Handshake. Before we begin the Q&A, director Todd Rohal asked me to not read these words aloud. Words I have not seen until now. It was an honor to work on the film. Todd was the best director you can imagine. The men were also jealous of him, and the women were all in love with him. I was in love with him as well. A deep, passionate love that still rings in my loins. Ah, yes, my loins. My loins ring for Todd. Ding dong, a ringy ding dong. Shabba dabba, bing bong, ringy dingy dong. I'd like to call to the front my good friend and mentor, the man who played Mr. Turnipseed, Mr. Ken Burns. His wife and my part-time lover, one of the ladies of the Club of Lima, actress Miss Joanne Burns. The man with a plan, Curtis himself, Mr. Jim Liggins. Our crew, Mr. Christopher Smalley, Mr. Jeff Hemphill, me, myself, Mr. Jared Larson, my friend and confidant, Mr. Todd Rohal Jr.
Sorry, I wrote that for Jared in the lobby. I thought it was going to be hilarious. So thanks for watching this again. Our cast, Ken Burns was Mr. Turnipseed. His wife, Joanne, was one of the ladies' clubs of Lima women, and also was just a tremendous support and continues to be with the film with us everywhere. And Mr. Jim Liggins played Curtis, and then Chris and Jared are actually graduates of Pittsburgh filmmakers, and and worked on the film and have been helpful as well through this post-process and screening everything. Richie Sherman shot it. He was a former Pittsburgh filmmaker teacher. Carrie Huswit, Napoleon Waniza, former Pittsburgh filmmaker people. So we have a pretty big connection to this area, apart from screening here as well. So if there's any questions, our cast and crew can answer them, or you can stare at us for a while. Great. I'll ask Ken Burns a question. Ken, who's your favorite actor in the film? Let's get something different going. Besides you, though.
This was my first experience in film, and it's really hard to pick a favorite actor or actress. But as I sit here watching it for the 10th time, I'd have to say Stu. Rich just gets to me every single time.
And Mr. Jim Liggins, if you could, maybe a story of working with Andy Nadler, your compatriot who played Bernard.
Yeah, Andy. Yeah, this guy he's wild. And in fact, there was one scene that I would imagine Todd's holding for the DVD, where I have to, as you can tell, be stone-faced throughout the whole film. And Andy's just going on and on and on and on, and to the point that he really wants to get some type of response from me. So he starts slapping me around. And out of the corner of my eye, I can see Todd like having a heart attack because this was like totally off the cuff.
He was all of our favorite actors as well. He's seen the film once, and he likes Ben Stiller movies, he told us. But he told us that beforehand. Oh, yes, yeah.
I have a question. Aside from the obvious question about the car, sign that. The photo of Willie Mays with the giant bazooka thing, was that an actual photograph?
Yeah.
Was that you, Mr. Burns?
Yeah, much younger. Before I got into the film business, I was vice president of Tops Chewing Gum. Baseball card people. And we were lucky enough one day to have Willie spend a full day at the plant. It became my 15 minutes of fame in the area because my picture was taken with him. You know, I became momentarily famous. When they came to our house to just look for props, they picked up that picture. And I said, you know, why would you want that? They said, well, you never know. Todd saw it and he wrote it into the film.
Yeah, it was like, we wanted to integrate things like that. We had no idea what we could find after we met a lot of the actors. We wanted to integrate that stuff in the film. And when our production designers went over there to his house, they were just like, yeah, this is an amazing picture and it's mounted on wood, or whatever, shellacked on wood. And so there was a scene where it was supposed to involve this other actor that Jim was with, and he had just reached this breaking point with all of us, and I think there was an attempted assault at one point. So we sent him home, and then Ken and I kind of went and rewrote this thing that seemed to really work for the character, where he's just kind of going through this bit of a crisis with dealing with his what he's proud of in his life and what he has after his son's left. So we kind of came up with this thing, which I really like. And every time I see that, I think it's hilarious. Like, I love seeing that picture of Willie Mays. Like, why is he in this movie? You know, it is the world's largest piece of bubble gum, and it's just like that. It's awesome. Yeah.
So, two things. What was your motivation, and what were you attempting to demonstrate?
These are like essay questions. I don't know. I hated college. What was my motivation? I don't know, I guess maybe more specific, like motivation for making a movie?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I guess you just have like a certain drive in you to do things, like why people create or sculpt or do whatever. I mean, I meant
more as far as the demonstration side of things. Like, what were you trying to show or communicate or whatever?
I guess I wanted to make a movie that I wanted to watch. Like, I think that's where, often people say, what markets do we want to hit and what demographics do we have and how we best make money off this thing. And I'd been to too many movies where you just walk out and just felt like that. It's just, it's just so, just so bland, and it's just for everybody, and so you get maybe a little bit out of it. I wanted to make a movie that's very specific to what I like. Like there's music that fits what I like, but there's never really films that are really just, you know, very for individual tastes. And I wanted to make that, you know, and I just don't think people have. I mean, there's just not enough money in movies to make things as specific as what music can do. So we just sort of made the movie that fit very, very specific kind of thoughts and ideas. So I mean, ultimately, you know, hopefully as movies get cheaper, that will become more. You know, I think you'll be seeing hopefully more. What do I want to say? But yeah, personal movies or just diverse kind of movies. Because yeah, at the end it'd be awesome if everyone came back and hugged Donald and you know, like I mean, you know, it's just it could be very generic. And actually, we're going to write a novelization of this movie. That's the Hollywood version. That sort of like would do what we would do to sort of explain that point, I guess. A writer friend of mine is going to do that, which I think is going to be hilarious. So, you know, and yeah, I think for me, like we pulled off everything I wanted to pull off with the film in terms of making the exact vision I wanted on no money. So, yeah.
So did you just go around picking people that you thought would be good in the movie, or did you actually like audition people, or how did that work?
Yeah, we did. I guess like. I can't tell a little bit, but we had casting sessions like all over the area. We wanted to pull people from that area as well, for budget reasons and because it's a sort of like you could pull from all over the world. But we searched out. We had like auditions at this little theater. We had everyone come in. We put up bulletins in shops and you know at wherever we could go. We went to school plays and tracked down little kids to be in the movie. We like just walked around Walmart and it was basically like. I really feel like I've just seen a lot of Hollywood movies too, where the acting is just like I don't necessarily care if Reese Witherspoon is Johnny Cash's wife. Like it doesn't. Who cares? And like I wanted to really see real people in a movie doing interesting things instead of just getting Hollywood kind of looking people. So anyone who had a headshot was kind of like we're not really interested in that. We're interested in finding real personalities and something that looked like this came from outer space, or like why would someone make this movie or cast these people? So. For Ken, Ken's got a good audition story.
Joanne, my wife, went down to audition and I drove her. When I got there, she said, well, as long as you're here, fill out the paper and audition yourself. Well, as it turned out, they told Joanne she's a very good actress, but she's a little too young and pretty for the part. Which makes me conclude that the reason they grabbed me is I'm old and ugly.
So, and Jim, I mean, we can tell. You want to talk about how we found you?
My story is that I was boring my coworkers with film speak, and Todd and his group had rented a office down the hall from me, and they basically told me, look, we're tired of hearing this. Why don't you go talk to those guys down the hall that are making a film?
And yeah, we found, other folks who were in it, like the Stool and Sadie characters, they were friends of mine. They were actually boyfriend and girlfriend in college, and they had broken up and hadn't talked in a while. So I thought that'd be an interesting kind of dynamic to bring them back together and see what would happen. And Sheila had never acted in a film before. She works at the Chicago Children's Museum, and she's not here. She's actually going to come today, but she couldn't get off work. I mean, it's like I really feel like we found these people that have like amazing gifts, you know, to act. And like the Turkey Legs, the girl Katie was just came in and blew us all away. It's a lot of fun to work with them. They're really thinking about this stuff and thinking it through, and they don't care about like how good they look in their wardrobe or whatever. It was like, to me, that's a rewarding filmmaking experience. Yeah.
So you said that like it was on no money, and then you like were really into the whole like real people, real things idea. So how did the no money reflect on that, like in your shooting schedule and how you like approach things and all that sort of stuff?
Sure. Yeah, we basically shot for a whole month straight every single day, and then everyone lived in houses together. Basically, some people were from the area, so they lived at home, but the whole crew basically all came in, and we all lived in 3 different houses. Our whole budget was about $170,000, which was raised through donations and small investments and things to get to this print stage where we're at, and to do a Dolby surround mix, which this theater's not capable of playing, but still, I was actually really impressed with what we had. Yeah, I mean, everything was really done just like through trust and belief in the film. People that put money in, I mean, they obviously, you know, some of them read the script, some of them didn't care, some of them had seen, a lot of them had seen my short films and just said, you know, they trusted with what I was going to do with it and where I was going to go. So it was more investing in and me and the team then, you know, thinking that Ashton Kutcher might come on and be in it. So, yeah, I mean, like that was sort of we were just really scaled down. I mean, it was also this thing, if you weren't happy, if you didn't want to be there, you could go at any point. I really hope the actors didn't take us up on that kind of thing, but everyone was really, it was just every day you're in a different location, you had no idea what was about to happen, and it was really kind of an adventure.
Did you hook up with Will Oldham? Did you know him before, or were you a fan? Or?
No, actually, Will Oldham, who plays Donald in it, he's a fairly well-known, he's becoming more and more well-known now with his new album. He's a singer-songwriter. He's also in this film Old Joy, which showed just before this and is showing tomorrow too, and I like the film a lot. We actually did this film a year before that too, which shows you how much slower we were on our post-production. But I was a fan of his for like a long time, and sent him the script through another friend of his who designed his album covers, and I helped create a DVD for a film that she did with him in it called Slitch. And he read the script, and I wanted him to come on actually to play the used car salesman, and he said he'd rather do something more substantial because he really liked the feel of what we were doing and everything. And he drove up, lived in the houses with us, worked for free, and just had a really, it was basically a really good time. It was like summer camp with Will Oldham. So, and then he left, and he has not seen the movie yet. So, and I wanted to see it on film in a theater. So he's all cool about that. But we've crossed paths 4 times, and he's missed it every time. So he is regretful that he hasn't seen it yet, but that's fine. Yeah.
What significance does the title have aside from the dad being Guatemalan?
Sure. Actually, the dad's Bulgarian, and that joke came across to one guy in Kansas City, and I was like the happiest I've ever been. He was like, "Why is that Eastern European guy Guatemalan?" But the title was basically like the starting point for the film, and I thought I always say it's like when you go to Applebee's and like there's nothing with apples on the menu, but you keep going back for the cheese sticks, you know, or like a band like it basically comes up with like a title for their band. Or Bare Naked Ladies is Ken fell for that one and bought all their albums. It's just sort of like I wanted it to be something. We Googled it beforehand and nothing came up, and so it was just sort of like this thing we created, and that's what it's just to sort of say this is what the film is, as to say this is what kind of music this is, and I like that idea better than calling it like. Actually, a former head of Paramount Pictures recommended that I retitle the film Electricity. He's normally a really smart, funny guy, and he really thought that was a good idea. And I don't know, he really understands the film and likes it genuinely. I just think that's the worst idea I've ever heard in my life. Oh, yeah.
Was the demolition derby scene hard to film? And also, was it expensive?
Sure. I guess, so you answer. You want me to demolition derby? You were there.
I was there for the demolition derby. I don't know if it was expensive to film, but no, it just seemed like there were a lot of people there. The guy, Jason, who sort of worked with a lot of the people, and worked with Sadie, the actress who played Sadie, and it's actually a demolition derby going on, and we just sort of had a camera out there and ran around, and shot different things, and then there was a set too. There wasn't not an actual. There was a mock-up demolition.
Right. So it was not a real.
Not a real one.
Right.
But they were real demolition derby drivers.
Right.
Sorry. I don't know what I'm talking about.
We set up we had this guy Jason Goodling come in and he taught Sheila how to actually drive. So she was driving in that, and they're actually all real demolition derby drivers. He rigged up 12 cars for us, and we just would start and then stop and then mount the camera on. We only had 2 cameras while we were shooting that, and run around and switch camera positions and all that kind of stuff. So it was basically set up for us, and then we shot the crowd scenes during a real one, and got